We begin our look at sports here in the Big Apple with the New York Mets down in spring training. We caught up with former Yankee Dellin Betances. The right-hander struggled in his Grapefruit League debut last week, but the former All-Star showed improvement this past week. The Mets reliever allowed an unearned run in the fourth inning Monday in a 9-5 defeat to Washington. Here's Betances on how he is feeling this spring.
I still got some work I need to do. Obviously, trying to improve on commanding my fastball well. And, my spike breaking ball hasn't been effective for me yet. Building some strength. I think, if I do that, the more games I pitch, I feel more prepared for this season.
Fellow Met Jerry Blevins took a year off from baseball in 2020. He spent it chasing two kids in diapers. The lefty never officially retired from baseball. He says only one former team could have convinced him to come back, thanks to some unfinished business.
I still have that want. I want to win a World Series. For me, it was literally the only team I would have come back for was the Mets. My body still feels great. I still have, analytics that say my stuff is still the same, so I'm still there. I still have that drive. And then the perfect storm of having, a chance to come to New York where my family loved it, where my first son was born, and they're a World Series competitor. And so it's going to be tough to make this team, but I still feel like I have an opportunity to do that.
Over in Yankee spring training camp, a big name is back too. Yankee manager Arum Boone returns from having pacemaker surgery. The team is happy to have him back, Boone is happy to be back, and Aaron is also happy with how the Pinstripers have looked so far this spring.
I think our depth's something that's kind of stood out to me. I feel like we have a lot of really good players, and kind of going through it today, kind of trying to get our lineups in place over these next few handful of days. We have a lot of good players to get in there, and I really like the work that the guys have been putting in. There's a business-like kind of hunger, and I feel like one-mindedness that's taking shape. And going back to the beginning, just really pleased with where guys came in physically, and that's kind of manifested itself so far.
Corey Kluber has looked brilliant on the mound. The former Cy Young winner, a new Yankee, discusses the value of conversations that he's been having with staff ace Garrett Cole and what it means to him this spring.
It's been fun. Whether it's him talking to me about my stuff or vice versa, I think there's been some good conversations there. I think that it's productive to talk to other people about stuff. I think that it can open your eyes to other things or make you think about something in a different way than maybe you have previously. So I enjoy talking about pitching with other guys, and I think it's the more you can do it throughout the season and facing other teams, especially teams within the division that you face all the time. Learn from each other, pick each other's brains, whether it's Garrett or whether it's any of the pitchers. I think it's definitely a productive thing to do.
We shift gears to the NBA hardwood, where the association enjoys a condensed All-Star weekend, but nonetheless a good one. The biggest highlight from last weekend may have actually been off the court, though. The rich get richer. The Brooklyn Nets used one of their veteran minimum contract slots to sign former All-Star Blake Griffin to their tremendous cast. That's 6 All-Stars in their regular rotation if you are counting. And rumors are swirling too that Andre Drummond could be next to be heading to Brooklyn. Griffin informed Nets general manager Sean Marks of his decision to join Brooklyn's championship chase on Sunday evening, a reunion of sorts with his former LA Clippers teammate DeAndre Jordan. Meanwhile, Team LeBron cruises to a 170-150 All-Star Game win over Team Durant as James watches the second half from the bench. Giannis is perfect from the field while Steph Curry and Dame Lillard held their own too. Curry wins the three-point contest prior to the All-Star Game. He says the one-day event was different but fun. Knick rookie Obi Toppin dunked over his dad, the former Hoops and the Sun star, and Randall in the dunk contest at All-Star, but despite reaching the finals, it just wasn't enough. I was totally wrong, by the way. I do think Cassius Stanley was robbed, and I was surprised that Anthony Simons, who I called Simmons last week, my bad, topped Obi in the finals. On the college basketball hardwood, tip of the cap is due for the Yukon women's basketball team. Different conference, same result for Yukon. After winning 7 straight titles in the American Athletic Conference, the top-ranked Huskies rout Marquette 73-39 on Monday night in their return to the Big East Tournament Championship game. Impressive. They will be awfully tough to beat come March Madness. March also ushers in the return of more auto racing to the schedule, and that includes IndyCar. One champion that will be very tough to beat is Scott Dixon. Former Indy 500 winner Alexander Rossi is focused and optimistic for the season and says the reigning IndyCar champ Dixon remains the target.
We went into the offseason with quite a bit of optimism, and we've continued that progression all the way through the winter, and the team's in a really, really strong place right now. So I'm excited to get down to Barber. The tests that we've had have gone smoothly, and we've accomplished a lot of what we've been trying to do. So we've got a couple more times in the car before Barber, but I feel good right now. I'll let you know in about a month.
Dixon is also eager to get back to work and says the IndyCar series is filled with talent from top to bottom.
It really comes down to now the people that you get to work with, the process of what you do, and then sometimes a bit of luck. So yeah, I'd say that the competition, I've never seen it so strong. I think, when you look at it from a driver standpoint to a team standpoint, and the options that you have. So yeah, it's pretty packed, man.
On the ice, Artemi Panarin is back with the Rangers after a 2.5-week-long absence in wake of a politically motivated article from Russia. The article accuses the star winger of assaulting an 18-year-old woman back in 2011. The Rangers have been without Panarin since February 20th. He has missed the last 8 games since requesting a leave of absence from the team following the discredited allegations levied against him by his former KHL coach. And on a final sports roundup note, cheers to New York City FC. The club unveils their 2021 Bronx Blue primary jersey. The new jersey pays homage to the New Yorkers who have shaped their club and the city that they call home. The Bronx Blue kit features NYCFC's iconic blue colorway with a striped pattern that's inspired by the different uniforms of New York City's municipal workers. An adaptation of the New York City flag is printed above the player nameplate. NYCFC will use the jerseys to continue to celebrate frontline workers, including thanking New York Presbyterian for all the work throughout the pandemic. With some of the first Bronx Blue jerseys, the special edition shirts will have a thank you message customized on the back and will be signed by the club's first-team players. That's just absolutely awesome. You know what else is awesome? The 50th anniversary of the greatest boxing match here in the Big Apple. We hit the C-list for more. After 50 years, Ali Frazier is the fight that transcends the sport. March 8, 1971. 5 decades later, the fight of the century remains the fight of any century. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier remain the fighters to whom fighters compare themselves. And it was more than just two of the greatest boxers of all time, and the two greatest at that time squaring off. It was a divided country preoccupied with race, Ali refusing induction into the Army during the Vietnam War, the decision costing him his title and almost a 4-year layoff from the sport. The man who won the heavyweight championship in his absence was unforgivably cast as the white man's champion. For historical significance, we turn to legendary boxing promoter Bob Arum. The 89-year-old Arum was there at Madison Square Garden and says no fight will ever compare.
People who, whether they listened on the radio, whether they were in Madison Square Garden, whether they're lucky enough to get a ticket to the closed circuit, which is, of course, limited because of the phone company limiting the number of locations that could be served, that anybody who either saw that fight or heard it on the radio never will forget.
The fight of the century lived up to the hype. In the 15th and final round, Frazier floored Ali with a left hook, and it looked as if the contest was over before, to the amazement of the crowd, he got straight back up. Frazier would go on to win the bout on points, but a unanimous decision giving Ali the first loss of his professional career followed, and in the context of what that fight meant outside the ring, the 50th anniversary certainly deserves a nod here in the C-list. Long live Ali Frazier. Happy 50th. Don't forget, catch Monday's Open. We'll talk collectibles with guru Brandon Steiner right here on the show. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.